Stop chasing happiness, why it fails, and how anti-fragility quietly makes you unbreakable. Most people spend years chasing happiness as if it lives somewhere slightly ahead of them, just beyond the next achievement, the next relationship, the next purchase, the next breakthrough, the next moment when life finally becomes smooth enough to feel complete. The idea sounds harmless because it appears hopeful, yet hidden inside, that hope is a dangerous assumption, that happiness is waiting in a fixed place, and that once reached, it will stay. That belief quietly shapes modern life. People move faster, compare harder, consume more, and expect emotional arrival to happen after enough progress. Yet even when major goals are reached, many discover something unsettling. The excitement fades faster than expected. Silence returns, and the mind begins searching again. That is why so many successful people privately feel confused during moments that were supposed to feel complete. The promotion arrives, applause happens, photos are taken, congratulations appear, and still something remains unfinished inside. Not because gratitude is absent, but because happiness was never designed to function as a permanent emotional climate. It is a passing state, not a foundation. The mistake is not enjoying happiness. The mistake is treating it like structural security. When happiness becomes the main goal, daily discomfort starts feeling like failure. Delays feel personal. Rejection feels disproportional. Ordinary inconvenience begins carrying emotional weight it was never meant to hold. A late reply creates unnecessary doubt. A difficult week feels like life moving backward. Small frustrations begin shaping identity because the mind expected smoother emotional results from effort. There is a different framework that changes everything, and it begins by abandoning the fantasy that comfort should be constant. That framework is anti-fragility. Unlike fragility, which breaks under pressure, and unlike resilience, which simply survives pressure, anti-fragility improves because of pressure. It does not merely tolerate challenge. It uses challenge as fuel. That distinction matters because it changes how hardship is interpreted. A fragile mind sees disruption and immediately asks why stability disappeared. A resilient mind traces to endure and return to baseline. An anti-fragile mind looks deeper and asks what new strength this pressure can produce that comfort never could. That question creates power because interpretation shapes adaptation. The same rejection that weakens one person becomes training for another. The same embarrassment that creates withdrawal in one mind becomes sharper self-awareness in another. The event itself matters less than the frame applied to it. This is why two people can experience similar setbacks and emerge completely differently. One becomes more hesitant, the other becomes more precise. One sees pain as proof of limitation, the other sees pain as information. Anti-fragility begins in very ordinary moments. It begins when frustration is not treated as interruption, but as a signal. A delayed outcome becomes patience training. A difficult conversation becomes emotional control training. A failed attempt becomes clarity training. That sounds simple, but it changes the entire nervous system over time because the mind stops reacting to discomfort as evidence that something is wrong. Instead, discomfort becomes evidence that growth is active. Modern culture rarely teaches this well because most public narratives reward visible happiness. People see edited moments, smiling outcomes, polished victories, and carefully selected highlights. The difficult middle rarely appears. Struggle is hidden, doubt is hidden, repetition is hidden. Yet nearly every meaningful transformation spends most of its life looking unfinished. A seed does not look powerful while breaking underground. Steel does not look elegant while enduring heat. Muscles do not strengthen without microscopic damage. In almost every system that becomes stronger, some level of controlled stress is required before improvement appears. Human character follows the same pattern. Without friction, strength remains theoretical. Patience remains theoretical. Courage remains theoretical. Discipline remains theoretical. They become real only when life asks for them under pressure. That is why small daily discomfort matters more than dramatic speeches. Waking early when motivation is absent matters. Finishing difficult work without applause matters. Listening carefully during criticism matters. Staying calm during uncertainty matters. These moments seem too small to celebrate, yet they quietly shape the internal architecture that determines future stability. Anti-fragility also changes emotional expectations. Fear does not disappear. Disappointment does not disappear. Uncertainty does not disappear. The difference is that emotions stop being treated as commands. You can feel fear without obeying it. You can feel disappointment without collapsing under it. You can feel uncertainty and still move intelligently. That ability creates unusual calm because calm is rarely produced by perfect circumstances. Calm is usually produced by repeated evidence that you can function even when circumstances remain imperfect. This is why many people become stronger after seasons they originally wanted to avoid. The difficult season forces clearer priorities, deeper self-awareness, stronger boundaries, and sharper judgment. Comfort rarely creates those upgrades because comfort asks very little from identity. Even success becomes healthier when anti-fragility is present. Without anti-fragility, success often increases fear because people become afraid to lose what they gained. With anti-fragility, success feels lighter because identity is no longer built only on outcomes. It is built on capacity. Capacity creates confidence because confidence stops depending entirely on external events. You trust not that life will remain smooth, but that you can adapt intelligently when life changes shape. This also explains why chasing happiness directly often fails. Happiness cannot be forced through obsession because obsession creates pressure, and pressure makes ordinary life feel insufficient. But when growth becomes the priority, happiness often appears unexpectedly as a byproduct. A person building skill feels satisfaction. A person handling difficulty with maturity feels quiet pride. A person recovering from failure with more wisdom feels grounded in a way temporary excitement rarely provides. That grounded feeling lasts longer because it comes from evidence of inner development, not from external stimulation alone. Anti-fragility is not dramatic most of the time. It is built in repeated private choices nobody applauds. Choosing reflection over reaction. Choosing learning over self-pity. Choosing steadiness over emotional theater. One uncomfortable truth is that many people wait for life to become easier before becoming stronger, when strength usually arrives first and easier feelings follow later. The strongest lives are rarely the ones with the fewest storms. They are the ones where storms gradually became teachers instead of permanent threats. And once that shift happens, happiness stops being chased like a destination and begins appearing naturally inside progress, meaning, and earned internal stability. You no longer ask life to remove every sharp edge before you move forward. You begin understanding that some edges are shaping you. That understanding changes posture, decisions, and even recovery speed after setbacks. Difficult moments still hurt, but they no longer define identity for long, because identity now includes proof that difficulty can produce something valuable. That is the quiet power of anti-fragility. It does not promise a painless life. It builds a life where pain loses the power to permanently weaken direction. If this perspective strengthened your thinking, subscribe now. Watch the next video. And if you are serious about building real inner strength, click the link below and get yours now.